Welcome to Stock Talk on April 24th. It is currently 4:18 p.m. Eastern Time. It was a huge day in the markets today, so let's get right to it. Looking at SPY, the S&P 500 ETF on the 180-day chart on the Thinkorswim platform. So let's zoom in on the current downtrend, and we've been talking about how SPY has been making lower highs in the long term, and that we found a resistance a couple of days ago at the breakdown candle, the breakdown area, which was around 271.36. And as you guys can see, we did try to test this area before we got rejected, and we were on our way down. Now, starting yesterday, we talked about the most probable scenario. What was the most probable scenario? The most probable one was for it to continue the downtrend, as discussed yesterday, to where? Where I drew the box. So let's zoom in on this current downtrend. Why this area? We did some Fibonacci, which showed that this would be the likely area. I mean, it doesn't have to fall in this area, but this would be the likely area if there were to be a reversal, to see a reversal around 264 to 265. Did we see a reversal at this area today? Not necessarily. We actually dropped straight through, and I told you about this scenario too yesterday, which was if we did not catch it today and we dropped straight through, there may be more on the downside. Okay, so you guys might have noticed that we did drop straight through, and we dropped to this area before we kind of pushed back and recovered a little bit at the end of day. Let's think about this. What is the importance of this area? Why this area? Why not this higher low area? Why didn't we drop to around 258? Okay, so this is where we need to look at the 1-year chart for SPY. And this is the 1-year chart. You guys might see some more lines that I drew in today. Taking a look at this, okay? What happened over here on this day? On this day right here. This was April 9th. We gapped up. Right? We gapped up, which means the markets didn't really have a time to trade in this area before we started gapping up. Where was the reasonable support today? So right when I saw it dropping to this box area, I took a look. I'm like, where is the next reasonable area? Because surely 258 is reasonable, but could we get there in one day? That's tough to see. That's tougher to see because we don't have we haven't seen a red candle that large in magnitude, right? This is the most probable area. The gap up area, right? Remember when we talked about the gap down area as a resistance? The gap up area might be the support. And we literally, looking at the 1-day chart for SPY, I drew this in and it was right there, right? It was at the support. And we bounced twice at the support. So a couple things to keep in mind. So you might be asking, are we at the bottom yet? Again, we don't have a confirmation that this is the bottom. Just because we're at the support and we kind of pushed up at the end of the day, you can look at the 1-year chart again and take a look that this is not a very convincing pattern of a reversal. You know, you guys can see that we had a lot of consolidation here before we had a reversal, right? So this is not a confirmation yet. Even like when we first dropped down, right? When we dropped down and it got pulled up, that still wasn't a confirmation because we actually had to retest the bottom again. We had to retest the bottom again before we got pulled up. So is this the bottom yet? I don't think so. It's doubtable. Again, just follow the trend, guys. Just follow the trend. It's not too difficult once you see this. So will this support hold? I mean, we'll see tomorrow, right? But what I can almost certainly expect is not something like this. Oh, let me get rid. We would not expect something like this, right? That's just pretty obvious. We may see something like something maybe like this and then retest, something like that. We might also see something like tomorrow where we have such a candle like this. I mean, these are just, you know, most probable scenarios, right? We have some sort of candle that looks like that to retest the support. to see if I can see another test of the support, I'll be slightly more convinced that this is the bottom. Currently, I'm not convinced that this is the bottom just yet. So where could we fall if we did fall? I feel like almost certainly we will retest the support at 261.40, but we could easily fall towards 258 and retest this area in the near future, okay? Now, once we retest this, we'll get to that point, and by that time, we'll look at the candle structure and technical analysis through all the markets and see where the markets are heading. But currently, obviously, we are still on the downtrend, as we have spoken about in the past few days. All right, so that's looking at SPY, and let's take a look at TVIX, which follows volatility. TVIX is something that you can actively trade in if you do feel that volatility is spiking up. So, what are we having here? Okay, so we see a couple of things, right? We see this massive green candle that occurred today in the first 4 hours. And we do see a red candle with a massive tail showing that we did kind of retreat back in terms of volatility. So again, volatility is not something that I will be investing in despite it going over the 20 EMA today, right? Even if volatility is starting to occur, take a look at right here, right? We spiked over the 20 EMA, but then we formed this large tail. This actually showed the beginning of a downtrend before we got another reversal signal right here. Why is that a reversal signal? It's because it's a red candle followed by an overbearing green candle, right? As we have talked about in the past. So with this kind of tail shape, right, we're not going to go into volatility. So what does that say? That says that volatility has temporarily, at least for now, reached its peak. So again, we're seeing some conflicting reports, which is why I feel like SPY has a higher probability of retesting this support before there's a possibility of it reversing. But remember, we need to look for a confirmation. This is a good sign, but it's not a strong enough confirmation for me just yet. So the higher probability is for it to come down. If this doesn't hold tomorrow, then there's a pretty high probability it'll head down that direction. Okay? That's what I'm looking at for SPY. So you guys can see that I marked okay, so this is another really interesting trend. We have now a new resistance area. Where's the resistance area, guys? It's around 268.43. Why is this the resistance? This is the start of the breakdown candle. Actually, we're breaking down right now. We don't know how far we're going to go yet, but regardless, whenever we do hit this point, we're looking for some sort of resistance at this area. Look at this, right? We had these trading horizontally down in this area. So around 268.50 area, once again, right? And we couldn't break above. Today, pre-market, we couldn't break above. We know that this area, generally speaking, is a pretty strong resistance area. So we're going to be looking for that as well. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of ETFs and tickers today. And I know the one that you all want to talk about, and it's on my list right now. So let's first talk about TQQQ, okay? So here's TQQQ trading at ProShares right here. So looking at TQQQ, remember that one day I was like, TQQQ went up 7% or 6%. That's pretty incredible. Remember that video? Well, today it went down 6 or 7%. So for people who are looking for an entry, be on the lookout, right? Be on the lookout for a reversal soon on SPY. Don't pull the trigger too early. Let SPY retest that support. But once again, we find ourselves at a better buying point. Remember, when markets are fearful, when markets are terrified, you should think, okay, we're getting close to the buying point. Okay? And you guys can see that TQQ has been falling. Is it on a downtrend? Obviously, it's on a downtrend. Have we gotten to a support? Not necessarily. We need to see a confirmation of the support. But once we do identify that confirmation, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or any time this week, this is the time to get into these ETFs. This is once again presenting as a very nice buying opportunity. So TQQQ, looking at this, we have a, similar to SPY, we have a slightly good reversal candle right here. Is this a confirmation? Not yet. We might hit 129, which is, not too difficult if we just have another downside to go. That's not too difficult. So look out for that. Right now, just be on the lookout. Okay. Taking a look at the ETFs. Now, I was monitoring this all morning and pre-market. Okay, /CL follows crude oil futures. We know that crude oil has making higher highs. It's been making higher lows. We've said that every time. And we said that it's been keeping at this support level. Remember the support level, this horizontal line that has been drawn for a couple of days already, maybe quite a while? This horizontal line is at 67.74. Yes, crude oil futures dropped, but where did it drop to? 67 right now, 80, pretty much at the support, and actually kind of pulled up. What does that mean for crude oil? That means crude oil so far still is holding its support. And if you guys take a look at GUSH, so GUSH is the ETF that follows crude oil. If crude oil is going up, GUSH is going up. Looking at GUSH, right? I was looking at this. You guys were probably looking at this if you were interested. What happened today? Right? Let's take a look at the 10-day. Okay, we know that crude oil had this bullish push, right? We actually went higher earlier today to $33.19, right? We briefly broke above the resistance before coming back down. Well, what was the catalyst that brought it back down? Well, most of it was due to the markets coming down, right? Because we know that drip kind of goes up as markets kind of go down. And you can see that as markets recovered, GUSH went a little bit higher too. What does that mean? This means, okay, so a couple of things I want to show you guys, right? We talked about this earlier. The 3-year trend for GUSH has shown a very strong resistance at $32. What was I talking about the entire time, right? If we can close above $32 on GUSH, that's an extremely good sign for crude oil, especially if crude oil, I feel like crude oil is really trying hard to push up, and it's still trying hard. Trust me. Okay, crude oil has a $32 resistance. We have not yet closed above. Does that mean this is an entry to drip? Not yet. Not yet, guys. Remember, the markets might reverse soon, if not tomorrow, maybe sometime this week. Why take the risk of going to drip? So, what exactly happened today? Yeah, we did see the resistance occur at around $33. Once again, $32 to $33. But we still held over the 20 EMA line on the 180-day chart, right? We held over. So crude oil is still more bullish until we can see a break of pattern when it starts breaking under the 20 EMA and we see /CL starts breaking under its support. And what do I mean by breaking? It doesn't mean that it goes down here, right? That's not necessarily breaking. We need to see it break and then form another candle which breaks under that as well. See? It broke under the support. Well, what did that mean? It doesn't mean anything when there's an overbearing green candle that follows it, right? So this is just another watch and see area. Watch and see area. One thing to keep in mind is look at this double peak, right? Double peak that's formed. Double peak that's formed over here. So am I looking for an entry into GUSH? Not yet, right? Look at this double peak that has formed. We're forming that double peak once again. So every time it forms a double peak, it feels like it's coming back down. But we just got to be careful because I still feel that crude oil wants to push up, especially when markets do start to recover. Crude oil might push over $32. But for now, let's wait and see. Drip. Been talking about this one for a while, right? Looking at the 1-year trend for drip, we've said that these boxes that I've drawn in represent every time it breaks down a major support, it starts going down. Breaks a major support, goes down. This was the major support on this time period, it goes down. We broke a major support, we're doing some horizontal action. Is this a buy point for drip? Let's zoom in on a previous example. Look, like, oh, case study, right? Okay, whatever. But looking at this, right? Horizontal pattern. This green candle, like, closed, like, so high up on that day. $11.90 on December 29th of last year. Does that mean anything? No, it broke down right after. Correct? What are we doing here? We're doing some sideways consolidation, right? The 20 EMA can't even catch up to this mark yet. So are you guys going to buy into drip right now? Not yet. Not yet. When do we buy into drip? We buy into drip once it does something like this, I guess, like if you cross the 20 EMA. But right now, based off of crude oil futures, the crude oil and the market's reaction to this, drip is just temporarily going sideways or going higher. But we want to look at the long-term picture. Unless you guys are playing some scalping action or whatnot, then the more less riskier play is GUSH. Okay, that's it. All right, let's talk about /GC, which is gold. Okay, gold futures. We said that there was a support at 1327. I think we identified that support a long time ago. Long time ago. What happened this time? Right? It bounced off the support. Charts don't lie. Like, sometimes they don't fart chart patterns, and most of the time, look at this. Right? It followed the chart pattern, and we do have a support, at least temporarily today, at this area. So, the JNUG was a play that you guys could have gone in today because we bounced off the support. So let's remove this line. This line is no longer applicable, but you guys can see this horizontal action, right? Down, up, right? That's the more probable scenario. Looking at JNUG, which follows gold, right? Here we go. So, let's not look at the 1 year chart. Right? So, we're at this point. Are we going to go into... So, JNUG is something that we could continue to see because we do see a support here. Do you see a support here? Why is that the support, guys? Well, look at this line, right? I didn't draw this line all the way to the left, but if I just place my cursor here, look at the line that goes to the left. Whenever it hits the peak, this is a previous resistance. Previous resistance. Previous resistance. Possible support. Ding, correct? Okay. So, we might see some sort of something like this, guys, right? Take a look. What happened at the support? Went up, came down, retested the support, surged up. What's a possible scenario here? Okay, it could go up. It might even go a little higher, come down, do some wiggle action, but eventually come back down, retest the support, and go back up. That's a likely scenario, right? So, so even though I feel like JNUG or /GC has a little time to run upwards, this is not. I wouldn't buy into JNUG just yet, just because we don't have really a confirmation yet of this new support. Yes, we have one confirmation here, but we need a couple more for me to be fully convinced. Taking a look at /natural gas on the 180-day chart, we talked about this yesterday. Don't go into DGAZ yet, right? We were at the support. But we were looking for a couple of things. Looking at /natural gas, we once again are at the natural gas peak. No, undoubtedly, right? You guys may be, right here. It's undoubtedly that this is the resistance area, right? We're very close to the resistance area right here. Is there any confirmation of reversal right now? No, no confirmation. We had a confirmation here. Look at this long, head wick right here that got pulled down, or the long tail or head, whatever you want to talk about. Do we have any wicks here? No, this is like a more bullish trend for natural gas. So wait for a confirmation, wait for natural gas to surge all the way up and then get pulled down on that 4-hour candle. That's when you can consider buying into DGAZ. Okay, let's take a look at DGAZ. So DGAZ is inverse of natural gas. As natural gas is pulling up, DGAZ is falling. Looking at DGAZ, it fell 3.79% today. Okay, here's DGAZ, right? We talked about a support at $27.11 and another support at $27.54. They're really close to each other, but those were the support areas, right? In between that, these are all support areas. But it fell under its support, and now we're at $26.22. Where's our next support for DGAZ? $25.40. Does that mean you're going to go into UGAZ, which follows natural gas? No, because we once again want to look at the margin for profit. The margin for profit, okay, we'll take a look at UGAZ in a moment, but we certainly don't want to go into DGAZ right now, right? Just for obvious reasons. It's on a downtrend, and we're about to retest this support. Like, if it gets down there or doesn't, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm looking for natural gas /NG to hit that resistance and get rejected. So far, no confirmation of rejection. Looking at UGAZ, right? Here it is. So I was asking you, natural gas is pulling up. Are we going to buy into natural gas? Well, taking a look at this, we're at the peak. You're not going to buy into, or I hope you're not going to buy into natural gas. So, you know, even if it breaks and stays above, are you going to buy into natural gas? I don't think so, because the reward is 4% from my next resistance line. The risk is still high because there's still a high probability that it could pull down. Are you willing to risk, what, like 5%? That's not a good risk-to-reward ratio, guys. That's not something I'm looking to go into. But I am looking for a peak with natural gas right now. Okay, the ticker that you've been all waiting for, right? Of course. Square. Huh. Square was down over 9% today. It was not a good day for Square, obviously. And I want to tell you a couple of things that we noticed in the past, right? We talked about these boxes. These boxes represent a gapping up over the previous day over the 20 EMA. And I said that every time it started to do that, it was pretty much the start of an uptrend, right? So we broke this rule today. Was it the start of the uptrend? It actually came all the way back down to its 1 month support, maybe even 2 month support. Okay, this is located at 45.70. All right, we have to be a little careful with Square, especially if you're in it. Yes, this is possibly a very nice buying opportunity. Will Square ever get to $52? Certainly, right? You give it a month, I bet it's going to be up here, right? Or, you know, you give it some time, it's going to come back to $52, undoubtedly, okay? But you want to get this stock at a discount. Yes, it is certainly at a discount right now, but we don't want to strike too early, right? Just take a scenario where if we do break this support, where are we going to be heading next, right? Maybe $43 down here. Okay, so take a step back and think where you want to buy in. Okay, looking at the scenario, it gapped up, but it eventually came down. But what was the confirmation of the low? Once again, it was a long tail wick that got pushed up. This was the big confirmation of an uptrend. So yes, look, it can still come down, but right now we don't have any confirmation that Square has hit its low. This is something to look out for. $46 is, in my opinion, certainly a good price, but you might be able to get it a little even cheaper, which is, you don't want to lose money. Like, are you willing to lose 5% more? Like, probably not, right? So wait for that confirmation, especially if you're eyeing Square. I do like this because we are at a support point. I'll give you that. All right, so a couple of tickers that you guys called out. First of all, let's take a look at Kroger. The markets did go down 424 points on the Dow Jones. These tickers went up. Not everyone went down. Usually when we see a huge red day like today, we see a ton of tickers just plummet. Almost every ticker is in the red. But today we saw Tesla end in the positive. Okay? So a couple of things, right? SPY. Look at the volume today. Yes, it was high, but was it as high as this? As high as these days? No, so the selling action isn't as great. Of course, we see less buyers in this area. We do have some selling action, but it's in the medium territory, right? It's in the average area, but it's certainly not too much above average, right? It's not something unusual. Markets expected this. Okay. What was I looking at? Oh, Kroger. So Kroger went up, right? This is something that we've been talking about during these days where Kroger was consolidating. This is just something I want to point out that Kroger has been surging up. We are at the, what? 200 SMA, which has acted as a previous resistance. For people who are in Kroger, just be a little careful where this is going. It's getting a little overstretched over the 20 EMA, and we know that the 200 SMA has acted as a resistance in the past. Just something to watch out for. And then I feel like if it does come down to the 20 EMA, this once again could be a good buying opportunity for Kroger, right? For Kroger, at least to where? Guys, okay, without me drawing it in, can you guys identify where we would possibly sell if it goes over the 200 SMA? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Right here, right, guys? This is the start of the breakdown area. Breakdown candle. So around this area, you could sell. So what's that margin? So if it does dip to the 20 SMA or 20 EMA, margin for profit possibly be a little safe, 5.5%. Margin for loss, maybe 2%. Not too bad if it comes down to the EMA. If it doesn't come down to the TEMA, not getting in, right, guys? Take a look at Amazon. This is not something that you guys called out, but I just want to show you guys Amazon. Amazon, once again, showing this downtrend following the markets today. It might be presenting another buying opportunity. I just want to point this one out because... like, yes, we do see this horizontal line that's been slanting up, but we might not fall to this line, right? It depends on what the market does. But right now, I just want you guys to keep an eye on Amazon because this, once again, we're falling to 1460. We've seen that it can surge up when markets are doing well. It can surge up to over $1,500. So this is a stock that definitely will climb to 1,500 or 1,600. It's just a matter of time. Not a matter of if, but when. Okay. CHGG. This was one that was called out by a viewer, and CHGG has been doing this uptrend, right? We see this uptrend, certainly, that's like this. You might be like, oh, we're out of support, guys. But also taking a look that we are making some highs, but the highs aren't as drastic, which means your potential for profit, yes, it could bounce off of this support and go up, but the risk is a little high, right? Is a little high because it could come down and do some... you guys can see that currently it's on the downtrend. Why is it on the downtrend? Well, look at this. It started coming down. What does this mean? 2 red candles under the 20 EMA. This candle couldn't even touch the 20 EMA. Earnings coming up. Is this a risk that we're willing to take? No. Especially at earnings, right? Look at this. Earnings, it came down. Here it was kind of low. It was at the crossroads, right? At the 200 and the 150 SMA. Earnings, it got pushed up. But now we're so high up. Are we already priced in for this stock? Right? This is not a chance that we should take. We're so high up. We're on the downtrend. Earnings coming up in a few days. Not a good risk. OSTK. Here's another one that you guys called out. OSTK has been doing some consolidation at this area, but I do like this consolidation, though we just want to be careful because the this green line, which is the 150 SMA, has been acting as a resistance. You can see this is a resistance. To try to hit this, it couldn't even get it, right? And it acted as a resistance. So once again, this is obviously on a downtrend, right? This is down. We want to invest something that is going like that. All right? All right, guys? You don't need me to tell you that, right? So it's going down. So unless you're trying to scalp something, oh, this is a large percentage points. I wouldn't bet on it because you could easily lose as much as you could win. That's more of like a... This stock is like 40% profit, 60% loss. Not a trade to... Why is it 60% loss? Well, it's on a downtrend. Even though we've consolidated, it's on the downtrend. It might be even more than 60%. Not something I would actively go in right now. Okay. Why? Okay, yeah, this is another one that was called out. Like, same thing. on the downtrend, yes, but look at this, right? We have some consolidation, but you guys can argue that what happened here? We consolidated right here. Didn't work. We can consolidate right here. It doesn't have to work, right? This is actually presenting a pretty nice short sell opportunity. But don't short sell. I'm just saying, like, this looks like a short sell opportunity because, you know, the support might be right here, right, guys? 88.49. It still has some room to fall. I can see this keep going down to this area. We want to invest in a trend that looks like this, not the other way around, right? This is like a backwards V. It's like a tent. Have we completed the tent yet? Not yet. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a tent, but you guys get what I mean. Okay, that's all the stocks I'm analyzing today. Thank you everyone for watching these videos. If you guys like this video, press the like button. Subscribe to the channel to get up-to-date daily, you know, reminders that I have posted a video, right? I do stock talks every day. And there's content videos on my channel as well. So like, subscribe. See you tomorrow, Wednesday, for another stock talk. See you later.